X-Men, 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 97. Series 1, Episode 1, title To Me, My X-Men. And this is the revival of the anime series from the 90s. You know, they got many of the voice actors from the original series to come back. And the weird thing is, like, I was always curious about this because I'm thinking, like, sure, there's going to be a whole bunch of people who grew up on that 90s anime show and are just like, you maybe know what happens. Maybe they remember what happened in the final episode. But there's a whole generation of people where this is their first exposure to these versions of these characters, to this version of Wolverine, this version of Cyclops, and this version of Storm, and this version of Jean Grey, and this version of Beast, and this version of Magneto, and so on and so forth, Jubilee and Jean Grey, all that kind of stuff. And for me, like, as much as I'm happy to watch stuff before I was born, I checked the first season out of the anime series of the original series. I won't lie, it was tough to go through. Now, I have been starting to watch season 2. It is better. Season 2 is better. I'm about halfway through episode 5 of the second season, so so I am trying to go through the series, so at least I know, okay, these are where the characters are at, this is where things are. But the thing about it, watching this first episode of the revival of 97, honestly, I don't think you really need to, like, watch a single episode of the original series, really. Because all that you need to know is Charles Xavier is dead. And now you got the other X-Men's, you got the X-Men kind of coping of, like, how do they become a team, who's going to be the leader, is it Cyclops, and Cyclops is starting to have doubts on himself. Jean is like, hey, why don't we, leave the X-Men behind, because Cyclops and Jean are having a child together, and Jean is super pregnant. She's like, the baby's about to pop at any moment, the size of her belly. But this is X-Men, so you need to have a sense of conflict, and the big threat is Sentinels. That there's these, it's typical mutant stuff, which is, hey, there's a bunch of humans who do not like mutants, and they're using Sentinel weaponry as a choice of weapons, and they need to find hellish trash to stop them, to stop more Sentinels coming along and spoiling more mutants and that kind of thing. And it feels essentially X-Men. It feels like, watching this episode, I'm thinking, for introductions, it's good. They got Sunspot, which, I won't lie, I thought Sunspot was going to be like the eyes of the soul. He's the new guy. He's going to, kind of like what Jubilee was in the original series. But Sunspot is the MacGuffin. He's there to move the plot forward for the episode. He's just there to be like, okay, he was a victim of the henchmen's, and that's it. By the way, I saw the quickest, like Storm in this does not mess around. Storm in this does not mess around, because the moment Sunspot, who's like, I don't know, 15, 16, maybe even like late teens, early 20s, and he's throwing a little bit of attitude towards her, she's like, you shut your mouth, boy. You're silly. You shut up. Shut the fuck up. I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, Storm. And clearly this is aiming for more, I know it's way PG, but more like a light M, a light PG-13, because, like, Wogue mentions about hangovers, about, because we're in this nightclub, and Wogue's like, if I, kiss one of these guys, I'm going to give them, like, the biggest hangover ever. So, there's going to be bits and pieces. When we introduction, I won't lie, I'm like, classic Wolverine, toy, it's like, I'm not actually going to stab you, I'm not actually going to kill you, but I'm just going to be a dick and actually just troll you. I'm just going to be like, I'm. I mean, I got two claws out, but there's a third one that might come out right in the middle. That might come in the middle of your head. But I'm not going to. But I just want to see how far you piss in your pants. I love that. The animation in this, and definitely when it comes to the action sequences, and they do get quite creative in this episode. Definitely when it comes to Cyclops, because Cyclops is very easy. It's just, like to him, just web beam, web lasers, web laser, heat vision, heat vision, heat vision. But they get quite creative with it, like him using it to dodge attacks. It's like, okay, I'm going to move to the left, move to the left, move to the right, to dodge attacks while he's in a fight. I'm like, okay, that's quite creative. Also him like landing, using it as a way to have a safe landing, because like the Quinjet gets destroyed by some Sentinels. Gets destroyed nearly at the end of the episode, while everybody's kind of collecting Rogue and Morph, who can basically Morph. I really like Morph is going to be like the cameo character where, Morph can transform. They are, because Morph is a non-binary character. They can transform into whatever X-Men character they could. Like, they turned the Blob. They turned the Blob. For the big giant action sequence at the end. Like, and they turn into Archangel. They turn into Angel. And for all those people who are crying that this show has gone woke, I need to ask you a question. Where have you been? It's X-Men. It's always been woke. It's known as civil rights movement with superpowers. It is a metaphor. Like, even the second X-Men movie with the line, "Have you tried not being a mutant?" which is a modern version of saying, "Have you tried not being gay?" Like, that's literally the whole thing. So all you people who are bitching and moaning about, they're making more of a non-binary character. I'm like, yeah, it's X-Men. Of course it is. It's all about being different. It's all about being different and siding against shun away and fear and all that. And again, maybe you're that person who just feels like they're outside, like you're like the nerdy, the nerdy person in the group, and you don't feel like you're along or something, and you're like the X-Men because they're outside. Yeah, I get you, that part of things. I get that if you're, the white straight male and you just antisocial or something. I get if you get a little bit like, no. But still, the X-Men, it's always been inclusive, and ever since day one, from like 1962, was it 4? So yeah, and then little Easter eggs here where like, hey, there's a photograph of the first X-Men of Beast, Jean, Cyclops, and with Charles Xavier, and I don't know, Iceman was part of that list. But if we're talking about a picture, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not Iceman, it's probably like someone else. But you see them in like their first appearance outfits. I'm like, okay, that's a neat little Easter eggs. The voice acting is quite good. I mean, the interesting thing about it is like clearly, because there's some really good romantic moments in this episode. Even like Wolverine being all bitching about, Jean's gonna leave. Like, I'm like, okay, that seems good. But there's these moments. Naturally they're using the actors from the original series, but it's interesting to see them using those voices, using those performances, and having to dive deep a little bit further. Because let's be honest, the original X-Men show was like, stop you there, Evildoer, stop there, Apocalypse, stop there, Magneto, stop there, Jean Grey, aka the Dark Phoenix. Let's be honest, that's basically what the show was. So, seeing these like deep characters, even with these like sounding more cartoon kind of voices, it works in a way, and the anime style works in modernizing it, even like modernizing the title sequence. I think it works really well with the episode itself. Yeah, for me, I'm on board. I'm on board so far. We got a 2 episode for that, a 2 episode premiere this week. So let's see how episode 2 does later, where I